Welcome, kings and queens, to another episode of Unapologetic, your number one podcast. This is the show where kings and queens tell their legacies and on. So get ready for the gems to drop and pull up to the table because we're ready. Welcome back, my people. Welcome to another episode of Unapologetic, your number one podcast. We have another special guest right here, Miss SheCosha Jackson, man. She's an author, a mother, so much more. She's the author of, what we call it?
Mommy, how far will I walk for you?
That sounds like a
well, for me.
spiritual moment, you know? That is a spiritual book right there. Also, I have to get a shout out to my brother at Z.G.E Studios, man. He's doing this thing. We're right here on the number one platform in the Michigan. You already know we got to represent the M-Town. We got to. But our special guest today, like I said before, she has so many talents. Please welcome her with open arms. We're going to pick her brain a little bit, see what she's been up to. Because the last time we were shooting, and it just wasn't right.
Cut the cameras. Dead ass.
You know, I had to bring it back. I had to come with more, you know. So right now we're going to do exactly what we say. Miss Jackson, how you been? Let me start.
Good.
Start off. What can you say that you've been most excited about since your development of becoming an author, real quick?
I guess the excitement that others have gotten to actually know an author, you know? So like when my kids or my nieces and nephews be like, oh, my aunt wrote that book, or my friend kids, they be like, she really wrote a book, you know? So everybody known that I've always had a passion for reading. So when I actually came out with the book, everybody was like more or less shocked. And some people knew the process of me doing it, and it took a little longer than I would have wanted it to. So then once they actually got it in their hands, it was like, she actually did it, you know? So, and that was coming from the kids, you know what I mean? So that was, I would say, one of the most exciting parts of it.
See, that's a personal highlight right there. I like that. So I want to take it back. Because before the author, before the leadership skills that you have gained throughout your experience, was Miss Jackson, you know, growing up, you know, and you're a Muskegon native, correct?
Well, I was born in Arkansas, but I grew up in Michigan. So like in the summers, we would go back and forth from Michigan to Arkansas every year up until I actually got in high school. That's when I stopped going down there because of cheer. But I grew up downtown on the Mason End. I went to Nelson. Actually, my love for books didn't come until I got older. Because, you know, when you kind of like forced to read, it's a difference versus it being like a welcoming experience, you know? So my biggest thing with my kids and like the kids around me is that I want to teach kids to develop a healthy relationship with books and also with words, because if they have a healthy relationship with words and books, then when they're in bigger rooms and larger rooms, they won't feel out of place. I feel like a lot of people feel out of place because they sometimes lack the knowledge of, and if us as parents can bridge that gap at an early age, but in a positive manner, it makes a world of difference, basically.
So you're saying that by that different approach, you're able to connect with more children in that aspect because of your experiences growing up as a child, correct? Wow. Yeah, that's more like a psychiatrist too. You sure you got put all those hats down, girl? You got too many. Woo.
Yeah, and when you think about it, you know, you even as adults, like being on Facebook, different things like that, you'll hear people say, "I hate to read. I hate to read." So if I'm the parent and I hate to read, that's not necessarily something I'm going to encourage my kids to do. I might tell them to read, but I'm not going to encourage them to necessarily read because I myself understand how I dislike doing something. So I figure they dislike it as well. And sometimes it becomes a learned behavior. So if people more or less have a healthier relationship with reading, then it makes it different.
That's true. That's true. Do you feel like the stages that you've took as becoming a person that writes and also the lover of a reader, that helps you in your own household?
Yes, for sure. And see, my oldest daughter, things was like easier with her when she was growing up, as far as like reading and different things like that. She caught on very easily. So then my second daughter, she didn't catch on as easily because she had a speech delay. So because of that, we had to find different ways. So I had to learn to be creative with her so that she wouldn't shut down or keep her intrigued, basically, or whatever. So then that's how it became more or less a game in my household as far as reading. And I figured that it was the same way with other people. So, you can read stories and they can be super duper long and the kids don't get anything out of it and they're not even paying attention. So I figured if my stories are kind of short, but intriguing at the same time, and then plus they see themselves in the book, then they'll want to read it more.
And now, as you was growing up, like you say, you're originally from Arkansas, but coming back and forth to Muskegon, Michigan. As that was going on, what were you more attached to? What made SheCosha like this person that's today?
I came from, I would say, between my grandmothers and like my mom. I came from a family of communication. So communication was very big amongst my family. You communicate how you feel. You communicate, I love you. You communicate, I'm sad, different things like that. That was very welcoming in my household between, me going back and forth down south and even me being up north. That was something that was always the same. Right. So I was able to take that with me everywhere I went, regardless of where I lived at. I went to I used to play the violin and I would go to Blue Lake Fine Arts Camp and I would be the only person of color.
Really?
And, oh yeah. So I would be the only person of color. My mom used to make jokes and say I would write home letters like I was in prison because I would write home every day because I felt out of place. And then some of the girls that was there, their form of communication wasn't like mine. It was girls that was there that their family, for family day, their parents was flying there on their plane. You know what I mean? So wow. They had never had experiences with a Black girl. So everything was foreign to me. And it wasn't that they just disliked me. They didn't know how to communicate with me because they had never had experiences like that. And
so you were like a bridge for those girls that like, you were looking like, who is this? Like, is she stained like that? Like some weird stuff.
Right.
And so dealing with that, what did you take out of that situation? Since it seemed like you were more well prepped mentally to deal with that.
Right. So I was able to see that at first I was kind of like, all right, what's going on here? You know what I mean? But it was literally a matter of once I figured out that they just wasn't used to being around Black people. It was kind of like, okay, well, let this be my introduction and let this be a good experience for them so they can see that, like the stereotypes that all Black people are this way, like that's not true. You know what I mean? Everybody is different. You know what I mean? So I just wanted them to have a positive experience as well as myself.
And so did you ever become like in a leadership role during that time when you was practicing doing violin? And for how long were you doing violin for?
No, I started playing the violin when I was in middle school and then up until I got out of high school. But I did it through like the Mary Poppins program. And I know a lot of people probably don't know about that program, but that's something that was asset to me for me to be able to go to Blue Lake, you know what I mean, with my mom being a single parent, so that I was able to go there for free, basically, you know. And if anybody's able to go out to Blue Lake, I don't think a lot of people even really know about it. I haven't heard, you know, people in the last so many years talk about it, but it's beautiful out there. It's just in North Muskegon.
Yeah, I never even heard of it. Honestly, like you're the first person that like that. I'm like Blue Lake. Like, where is this at? This sounds like
It's in North Muskegon. You know, like when you go on to Michigan Adventures and stuff, and you'll see a sign that say Blue Lake or whatever. It's literally out there, and it's a fine arts camp. You know, my first opera, a person from overseas came and they sung for us there. I see my first ballet there. Like it is amazing, and it's literally right there in North Muskegon, and people don't even know. And it's on the lake, so it's Blue Lake.
Wow. And is this particular thing, has it always been like just a clear discrimination between black and white?
Again, I don't think a lot of us know is there, and also probably can afford to go there. But literally, you know, if you do band and orchestra, choir, art, you know, drama, like it's all type of different things that's out there, and it's a summer thing. And then you can also qualify to go with Blue Lake and go out the country with them the following year. But it's an amazing thing for people who are into the fine arts, and they should be able to experience that, especially with it being right in Muskegon. I mean, basically, and it's what, a 2-week program, I think. But yeah.
That's dope. Holy
Mm-hmm.
wow. And you never went out of town or out of the country with this particular group?
Nah, my mama wasn't playing that.
I had to ask because you never know. It might be a surprise. Like, yeah, we went to New York and blah, blah, blah. You know,
Nah.
these were plans. Like, no, my baby.
I didn't last in North Muskegon, so I definitely wouldn't last, you know.
Right.
But every year she would be like, you going back. You know what I mean? Like, you going back. So, and I'm glad she made me go back, because that first year I was like, I'm never doing this again. But I'm glad that she did make me continue to go back. But yeah, you should look into it. But it's North Muskegon.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Yeah. So from that time to your high school, what all did you do that, you know, that was different? You know, that because you have a different type of energy that like is homey, is warm, but also you can feel the firmness in it. Like, yeah, don't play with me. I could read a book and beat you with it. Like, all right, yeah, I respect that. I respect that.
Again, I was raised on the Mason, so I had to, you know, be a little firm, you know, and It wasn't a whole lot of girls over there when I was growing up, so you had to be kind of firm. But, you know, in high school, I cheered, I did orchestra, I worked, you know, I helped my mom with my brothers, like, wow. Just, you know, what it was, you know.
That help caregiver type of, that's beautiful. That's beautiful. So did you ever do college after high school?
I did. So I moved to Lansing. I was there for a while. Then I moved to Indiana. Then I got married once I moved. Well, I was in the process of getting married. Then I moved to Iowa. Wow. And once I moved a couple times. And so that's what my husband was in college at. So he played football there. So then I ended up just finishing school online or whatever, because that kind of fit best with my lifestyle.
And all of those places, just finding out what school you liked, or you was just transferring and
whatnot. You know, when sometimes you're young and you really don't know what you want to do, but you're told like you should be in college type situation. Yeah. So it was one of those situations, you know. And then once I moved to Iowa, like I would say that was, besides like my mom and my grandparents, I would say I'm gonna say my stepdad as well. Like he wasn't always in the household, but I would say him as well, because like he taught me how to trade my lunch before I started school. You know what I mean? Like stuff like that, because I was so kind-hearted that, you know, I just be like, he would say like, if they say, let me have your milk, what would you say? I'd be like, okay, you can have it. So it took him to teach me how to like be like, okay, you want my milk, but let me have your juice. You know what I mean? So things like that he was able to install in me. But when I moved to Iowa, it was like a totally different mindset. You know, when people say when you move out of Muskegon, you like on your own and you learn different things or whatever. But it was just a total like shocker when we moved there. They was just becoming diverse. Um, so it wasn't a lot of Black families there. Most of the Black people that was there was in college. They had a 97% white, 2% Black, and 1% other. And so they was trying to get different like funding and stuff like that. But in order for them to get the different funding, they needed more Black people there. So then that's when some of the people from Chicago came into play, because they were closing down projects there. And so the social workers would call and say, do you have housing for these people? And they would say, yeah, because they needed to add more Blacks in order to qualify for the different things that they were doing or whatever. So people were literally moving from Chicago to Iowa and qualifying for Section 8 within a week. They would move on Monday and they'd have their Section 8 by Thursday or Friday.
Wow, that's fast.
Yep. So
here's something like that. It takes what, a couple of weeks, months, maybe
years sometimes.
Yeah, like wow.
Mm-hmm.
So
when we moved there, with my husband being in college and he was playing football, like I picked up a second job just for something to do. So I did home health care because I was good with people or whatever. And it was a lady that was in her 90s and she was a caregiver for her daughter. And she sat me down and she said, the neighbor next door, she said, don't speak to them. You keep walking whenever you come into my home or whatever. She was like, because they are racist and they will harm you. And I was like, whoa, So then she told me, she sat me down at the table. She said, I had to give permission for you to be able to come to my home. And I was like, you signed up for care, you know what I mean? And she said that there was a caregiver that was there and she went to a home and the husband was racist. So the husband allowed this young Black girl to take care of his wife. After she was done, he held her hostage in the home. So once that happened, they had to reevaluate how they basically mixed in the people of color into the homes of white people that needed care.
Right.
Yep. So when I tell you, I learned a lot. I learned a lot when I lived there about myself and just about people in general. It was people there that was like the town. When I say the town was small, like we used to either come back to Muskegon to shop, go to Chicago, or order online. Like there was no stores that was basically for us for the most part.
Right.
And people would say like, I've never left here before, and I never plan on leaving. Like everything I have is here. Like I'm okay. And I used to be like, you don't want to see the world, you don't want, like asking questions, And because we've always taught like it's so much out there in the world, but it was like people were so content with their lives and was happy, and they knew they was gonna either be farmers, work at John Deere, be a nurse, or be a teacher. That was kind of like what it was. You know what I mean? But they were good people, and I met a lot of good people that I still have great relationships with, but I learned a lot about myself.
Whoa, girl, this is like you taking me back to memory lane. That's crazy. Like that whole, like hearing that whole experience that you went through and was told.
Mm-hmm.
You sit back and you were like, man, can't nobody hold me hostage nowhere. Like this, you finna see Unapologetic for real.
Yeah.
But how long were you there for? Like living in that state?
We lived there twice. Yeah, because he had like 2 classes left to graduate, and he could only do them there. So because we had moved away after we had Sky, because like we were paying more in rent for daycare. We were paying more in daycare than we were for rent. So yeah, and we didn't have no family and stuff, So that first time around, we ended up moving back home, but he only had 2 classes left to get his bachelor's degree, so it just made sense for us to go back. And so then once we went back, with us being a 2-family income, she was still able to like start Head Start and all that stuff for free. And other places, they don't, So we just continued to live there. But so I would say about maybe a total of like 5 or 6 years or something like that.
Okay, that's pretty
Yeah.
decent. So you got to know the neighborhood, the city, you know,
Oh yeah.
people for
Yeah.
sure. Wow. Okay. All right. Fast forward, guys. So, before then, what degree did you get, or what
My degree is in human services.
human services? So you love
Mhm.
working with people, just on the
Oh
deep.
yeah, I enjoy it.
You a good one. I'll applaud you. A good one. Yes. Yeah, we need those people like that.
Yeah.
Especially caregivers. Thank you so much for that. So from there, you moved back. He finished the 2 classes, right? And then
Yeah.
all of a sudden, y'all, after the 2 classes, y'all just picked up and came back to Muskegon.
Nope, we actually was there for a while. And then his father took ill, and he was like, I want to be around my dad, and I'm like, I get it. You know what I mean? So his job transferred back to Michigan. And then that's how we got back home, which it can't end up working out well because I was pregnant. And then my baby has always known family, you know what I mean? And when Sky was, growing up, she used to be like, I want to go back to Michigan. I want to go back. So we would come back and forth on the highway so that she can visit family because, we didn't have any family there. So it ended up working out, well for us coming back to Michigan.
Back to the snow. I bet I missed, man.
But it was snow there too. We had a lot of snow there. It didn't get as cold as Michigan, even with the Mississippi River being there.
Yeah.
But it was we had it. We for sure had it. And they had ice storms. I remember, like, it's crazy when you move different places and stuff you don't know. When we moved there, you get car insurance and stuff like that, but nobody never told us we needed hail insurance. They would have like a season where like the hail would come, the hail would be the size of like rocks, like bulldozers.
No.
It would hurt when you would get hit. And I'm like,
gotta wear a helmet just to go to the car. No.
Yeah. Like, oh yeah, you gotta have hail insurance, honey. I never knew.
Crazy. No, I'm good. Yeah. You can have it. You good, girl.
So yeah.
Oh my God. So coming back, you're around family, you're pregnant with Sky, right?
Zoe.
Yep. Zoe.
Yep.
Okay. You and your husband is finally, getting settled down and whatnot. What was next, like, for you? Because now that you're out of college, you graduated, did that pause or prolong anything because of your pregnancy to start off, feet running, coming back to
I ended up, once I had her and stuff like that, like you in that phase where you kind of like, what's next? What we doing? One of those things or whatever. And it was more or less for us like, all right, we just move. Moving is horribly expensive, especially when having a new baby. So for us, it was more or less, all right, let's grind, let's work, let's do what we got to do to, take care of ourselves. And then we'll, figure out things as we go. And it's taken some years because what Zoe is, she just turned 8, so I was 7 when I put my book out, but it took some time for me to try to figure out what exactly it was that I wanted to do with myself, and still kind of, for the most part, figuring that out, but I know that I want to show representation of us in literature. That's something that I want to do. I want my girls to be able to look at books and see brown kids and brown grown-ups, I never seen that as a child. No. As a child, I never touched a book that had somebody in it that looked like me.
You and me both can agree on that, because I remember growing up and everybody was white, or if there were some brown people in there, they were only on one page. You get what I'm saying? It wasn't really a part of the story. Yeah. And to have you come with this book, it's like, wow, now my daughters can see themselves and understand, like, you can do anything and be everything. And I see that from you. You have that, that strong momism. I'm calling it momism. Got that momism about you, man, that you're going to do everything and anything for your kids. And you can't help but, respect it, love it for sure. And I see that in your book, because when I was reading the book with my daughter, she instantly was like, she looks like me. You know, like, oh, her hair is all curly. I was like, yeah, baby, I know. Yeah, that's nice, isn't it? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And she just took over the book, and she kicked me out of the room. But anyway, that's here and that's hey, yeah, took over, right? That put a huge smile on my face, and I thank you for that.
Thank you.
For giving that gift to my children.
Thank
So I
you.
had to get that out, y'all. You know, I give credit is due, but from before the book came, what were you doing? Like, how did the book became a reality? Because it all starts as an idea. So where did it come from?
I would just like write in my phone. I would just write notes, or I worked in a nursing home, so we'd have like downtime, and I would just be sitting there thinking, and I literally would just like write ideas and stuff in my phone or whatever, and then I would start reading to my husband like what I wrote, and he'd be like, "That's actually good," like what you gonna do with it? You know what I mean? So then I send it to a couple of family members, and they'd be like, "I like that," and I'm like, "Oh, okay, maybe it is okay,"
Right.
So once I did that, then I went forth with the process of trying to learn what it really takes to get a physical copy of a book,
And what did that all entail for you? Like, what were some of the challenges that you experienced by putting this together?
So for me, I'm not, I don't draw. So I never was, like, hey, I'm going to draw these pictures for this book. You know what I mean? That was nothing that I ever wanted to do. But for me, finding an illustrator was really tough for me. It was really tough. There was different people who wanted like percentages of my book. There was different people that say, yeah, I'll do it, but I'll do it for 1,500. Or people say, well, yeah, I do it for this amount of money. And it's kind of like, that's kind of like, you know what I mean?
It's not that vibe that that's home and welcoming. Like, this is something
right.
That's a part of me. I understand for sure. So what finally clicked on that?
So I used to listen to videos before I would go to bed at night on YouTube, and I would be half asleep, and I would listen to different people tell their stories about how they became an author, or who did this, or just giving different tips or whatever. Literally, like every other night, if not every night, I would listen to videos before I would fall asleep or whatever, and I would hear different people say like the different people that they went to. My family members would even see somebody say like, hey, I wrote a book, and they would zoom in on the illustrator and send it to me so that I can look the people up. You will find some people who would say, oh, I don't remember who did my illustration.
Lying like a mug, huh?
Are you not ashamed of yourself?
Yeah, so that was, huh?
Like, why would they do that? What was the reason for that?
And how they call it? Is it gatekeeping? Is that what they call it? When you know information and don't want to share with other people.
Here's a number. What's that shit say? Psych! That's the wrong number.
It's just selfish, man. That doesn't solve no problems. That creates more problems.
Yeah.
That's crazy. But you got past that and ended up going with who? Who was that?
Actually, the person who did my illustration lives in Costa Rica.
What?
We connected online, and I told her what I wanted. She was like, you pay a down payment. Then once I get the drawings done, you tell me what you want me to change, and then you pay like another payment, and then once it's initially done, then, so it was never like, oh, give me, $1,000 right now. Whatever we agreed upon, we just split up the payments. As she did her work, then I will pay, because a lot of people in some of the groups I'm in, they are getting scammed like no other.
Really? Wow.
Yep, they paying these people up front and never getting their work. So I always look at people on Facebook, and I see kids and stuff that be drawing. I just be thinking like, they just don't know the possibilities, you know what I mean, that are available for these kids. Like my book that's about to come out, I had to pay quite a bit for that book. And I knew that because of the details and stuff like that. But I was just thinking, like, if people really like geared their kids toward their talents and stuff, instead of just saying, oh, this kid did a good job, but don't really feed into that, they just don't know what they could possibly be feeding into.
Right. Exactly. Wow. You hit it on the head right there. That's big right there. And for you to be a author in literacy and writing and all this in communications, what I want to say, that is a big gap in the Black community, because as me and you spoke about it before, most of the trends that are going on that our children are seeing is sex, drugs, money, violence. That's it. That's what sells. So that's what people run to. But with this book, it's like, no, this is something that needs to be in our household, needs to change that. And that really speaks out like hugely. And was that what you were aiming for, or that is just what it came to be?
With my book?
Yes.
So, when you kids, I know a lot of people, parents say, when kids say, hey, how much do you love me? And they be like, I love you this much. And, this, that, and the other. So I just kind of wanted to put it on a book and show my kids, like, I'm going to walk to this moon for you. You know what I mean? I might not make it, but I'm going to walk to this moon for you. You know what I mean? And I just needed my kids to understand that. And even, the kids that's around me, like, people always say parenting is different now than it used to be, this is that and the other. But for real, us as parents right now, like we go there for our kids, and we'll do anything that we have to do, even as far as resources. You know what I mean? We might not have everything when it comes to resources, but guess what? We're going to find a way to make sure that they can get in that sport, or they can, whatever the case may be, we actually go there. So I wanted my kids to know, like, this is how much I love you. Even if I can say it all the time, but I'm showing you in writing how much mom really loves you.
The actions will speak just as loud as the words. Okay, you should write a whole nother like history book or something. Like, you need to get you down like autobiography. Talk to the kid. Just see if we can get that going, because this is something that you don't hear about. Especially in the Black community, and you're highlighting that. And
the reassurance part,
pretty much
kids need reassurance, and even us as grown-ups, we need reassurance. But even with kids, I just feel like when you give them that as kids, then they don't grow up looking for that, because that you've always given that, you know what I mean? Even me and my daughter, we talk or whatever, and we talk about confidence and different things like that. Like, my mom always made me feel beautiful. So a boy didn't have to tell me I was beautiful, because I knew that. Right. You know what I mean? So even with kids, somebody say, well, they call me ugly. It don't matter if they call you ugly, because you've always been taught how beautiful you are, so that doesn't hurt your feelings. You know what I mean? So I try to do the same thing with my kids. I don't want no, as the old folks say, pissy tail boy coming up to my baby and just being like, you're so beautiful, and you know what I mean? I don't need that. I want them to see something else in her, and not just her beauty,
Exactly. Oh, man, I agree with that one. I need you to talk to my princesses, man. Come and talk. Man, what are you most proud of since the beginning of this journey? Like, what was like one of your highlights in the beginning?
Initially, we always have like setbacks and stuff. So I will be so mad that, like, okay, this was supposed to come out then, this was supposed to happen then, but it was just like so much that I didn't know at the time. And I felt like God was telling me, pump your brakes. When it's your time, because a lot of stuff I didn't know. Let's just say, like, the ISBN number. The ISBN number is a social security number for your books, basically.
I didn't know.
So if you don't own the rights to your ISBN number, you don't control what happens with your book.
So you saying that anybody can just sell your book and make profit?
No, what I'm saying is, so let's take it to Amazon. So I publish my book through Amazon. So Amazon gives you the option. Do you have your own ISBN number or do you want to use ours? So let's say I use their ISBN number. So I use their ISBN number. My book can't go in Barnes and Nobles because they are the actual publisher of my book. But for me, I'm using Amazon as printing my book. And yes, they house it on their website and I have to pay them a percentage, but they can't tell me I can't take my book to BAM Books or Barnes and Nobles or a private bookstore.
Okay.
But years ago, a year or two ago, I didn't know that. So I just would have automatically thought like, hey, I'm about to go ahead and get this ISBN number through Amazon and I'm about to get my book and I'm about to do whatever I want to do with it. But that's not true. I can't do that if I only go with them and use their ISBN number because they now have the rights to my book.
Wow. So how did you gain your own ISBN? What is the process of that?
So there's a website that you can go to and you can buy. You can buy one ISBN numbers, you can buy 10, you can buy 20, so it just depends on what package you want to buy. Mm-hmm. I would suggest for somebody to probably say, if you plan on writing more than one book, to save up and then buy a bundle of them. And then they don't expire, so you can use them whenever you want. But I would suggest if somebody plans on writing more than one book to kind of save their money and then just buy, a bulk of them.
That'll make more sense. From what you tell me, your experience, I'll buy a whole truck if I could. If I was really like that, Arthur, oh yeah, I need all of them. Just give me all of them.
Yeah.
So you got your ISBN, and what was the first, besides Amazon, who else did you send your book off to spread it out, get it launched?
So I just did it there's other platforms, but for my first one, like, how they say trial and error, or whatever the case may be, I just went ahead and did it with Amazon to learn like their process, because I know how I shop on Amazon and I know how I look up different things on Amazon. So I just figured for myself that would be the easier route. There's websites where you can you can publish your book on there, but they don't have an actual web base or whatever, but you can just go on there and have them print it out for you basically, and then they'll send them to you and you can just keep on doing it like that and not even host it on a website as far as Amazon, or you can just host it on your own personal website. So there's so many different ways that it can be done.
That's nice.
Now they have it where you can sign up on Walmart.com and you can put your book on Walmart.com and sell it directly from their website versus it just being in their store. So it's so many different ways. And like I said, I didn't know a lot of things back then, but as time has gone on, because again, I like to read, so I don't mind reading the different things to be able to learn the knowledge that I need to do what I want to do.
What? Oh yeah. You looking for secretary, administrative work, I need any type of, something. That's what's up, man. And you can hear, man, you self-taught.
Yeah, I'm learning a lot. Like I told you, the marketing thing, I'm struggling with that. But once I learn that, I'm going to be good, because that's not something that, we're necessarily taught, how to market yourself, how to get yourself out there. But then you got people online that have learned that, and they will charge you $1 billion for something that is not even valid information. It's not something that can carry you to the next phase that you're trying to get into, so It's literally a learning experience.
So how long did it take for you to actually get everything together? Right, because you have to write out the book. In the book, there are games and puzzles, like for the kids and stuff like that. So how long did it take for you to get all that together? And how did you get that together on your own? Because that's a lot of research. That's a lot of,
So we'll, it's hard to say a real timeline, because I wrote that book probably like 2 years ago.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
I got like 3 years worth of books and stuff. So, because
3 years?
I just sit and I just think, and when I think, I just write it out. It was crazy because my grandmother was like, when I sent my grandmother's their copy, they like, who helped you? I'm like, nobody. And they're like,
Yeah.
well, how'd you do it? You know, and I'm like, I just thought about it and I just wrote it out. But I would say once finding the illustrator, she said I can do this in about 4 to 5 weeks. Cool. Did that for 4 to 5 weeks. Deandra did my editing from Precise Writing. Online, she does like the resumes and different things like that. So she does my editing for me or whatever. So once me and her talked, she did different, we would like FaceTime and be like, okay, let's make these changes, or what about this? And, you know, we did that. So we'll say that took like another month. Putting it online is free. You don't have to pay anything to put it online. The only thing you have to pay is when you want to get your actual copy, physical copies.
Okay. So to get it off and stuff like that.
Yep. So once I did that, my book got sent back a couple times. They'll send it back and say like the title is 0.33 inches from too close to the end of the page or stuff like that. So it got sent back so many times because of the different formatting issues. Like, and I would be bawling like, I just don't understand, blah, blah, blah. And, you know, and it's so crazy that my ebook version got approved faster than my physical copy.
How is that?
So, yeah, I don't even know how that went.
That doesn't make sense.
Yeah. So that's how it went. But yeah, so that alone took weeks. It took probably like 4 or 5 months. No, I'm sorry, not 4 or 5 weeks from them sending stuff back to me. And they typically take, it used to be 48 hours to approve it. Now they say up to 72 hours. So they'll wait up to that 72 hour and send it back and say, this is an error that we found. And then I have to do it all over again once I get the mistake corrected. So
they would have got a vivid message for me. Like they would have got some vivid messages, man.
Yeah, so that part was tough. So that literally took, like I said, about 5 weeks,
right,
just back and forth, like move this over a couple inches, move this, you know, down from the top, or, you know, things like that or whatever. So that took quite some time to get that corrected. But again, it's a learning experience. It's something that I didn't know what I was doing, and I'm learning, you know, basically by myself, because I've reached out to so many different people. Like, and I'm not one to, like, I'm one of them people that I'll talk to you in person, and I might see a person that she's really pretty and I'll say, hey, you're beautiful. You know, I'm one of them people, but jumping in inboxes, that ain't my thing. So, you know, that took a lot out of me to be on Instagram and, you know, asking people questions and things like that. And a lot of times not even getting responses, or getting somebody say, yeah, I tell you, but you want to pay me. Like literally just like that.
That's cutthroat to the mug, man. We got a cutthroat world, y'all. God dang. But out of all of that, I feel like you came out on top.
Thank you.
I really do. I mean, because I love the book. My family loves the book. Clearly, you have good feedback from that. And so is there going to be a part 2 of this?
Not particularly of that book, at least I can't think right now. But my next book is basically about, her name is Daisy Wolf, and she is a girl wolf, and she idolizes the big bad wolf, and she wants to be like him. So that's my next book, and yeah, it'll be out probably in like the next couple months.
Oh, this is coming out. Oh yeah, I need that copy. Yeah, I'm gonna need that. My kids gonna need that one. I'm gonna need that one. So, can you give us a little detail on the book?
Yeah, she is a girl and she wants to be like the big bad wolf and blow the houses down.
So she's going to be like with the 3 little pigs as well? in that
You
concept?
you see them, but you'll see them basically after she blow down their houses.
Oh yeah, I ain't gonna get too much into it. I know you can't give me
Yeah.
all the juice. Can't give you all the juice.
Yeah.
So besides that one, is there any others? Because you said you was writing for like years, so you gotta have what, like 6 books?
Yeah, I got a couple more than that.
Oh,
But
ooh.
I am waiting again, the whole move the title to the side a little bit situation with Amazon. But I have my first coloring book that is a cut and color coloring book to help kids with their fine motor skills with learning how to cut out pictures. So that'll be hopefully in the next week or two, that'll be done. And the Daisy Wolf coloring book, I plan on doing I plan on doing a separate coloring book because some of the kids are saying they wish there would have been a little more activity. So I plan on doing an actual coloring book and adding a little more to that.
Oh wow. And so are these books, are you trying to get them in any type of schools or any type of educational type of organizations, anything like that?
So far, because my people love me so much, they've often bought books for themselves in their households and donated them to different libraries in different states and different schools. Yeah.
So you're in which states? Can you give us a few?
I know Texas, Arkansas, Iowa, Michigan, Indiana.
That's a lot. You talking about congratulations, girl. That's
Thank you.
Heck yeah.
Thank you.
Man, so all right. I've got happy, man. You got me excited about books and reading. I love it, man. All right. So can you give us a little bit on what is in the future for Miss Jackson? Like, is there a building that's coming specifically for it that you're gonna have your own bookstore or a certain like learning thing when you sit down and read your books to the kids or anything like that?
So I plan on within the next 2 years building my catalog. So I plan on producing quite a bit. Hopefully, that's the plan. My website is going to be called Kosha's Cozy Corner, and I plan on putting activities up and also doing reading on there so that kids can come and listen to stories. The reason why it's called Kosha's Cozy Corner is because sometimes we don't have glamorous places to read. Everybody don't have a reading nook or, places to read. Sometimes people don't even have a safe place to live. But one thing that is inside those homes are corners. So if you can sit inside a corner and make it your own, you can dream and you can read and you can do anything you want to do. Just take that time out just to sit by yourself in a cozy corner.
Do you see yourself as like, I want to say like a psychiatrist for children?
No.
Because for me, how you represent and present the book and the style of how you're doing your business and your ideas, it's almost like you're trying to heal the what's going on in the home, because we don't have that much communications in Black homes. There is a huge gap on that, and I feel like the book is bridging that gap for that. You're absolutely right about there are not even no safe havens for certain children homes, like you said before. And the corner, thinking of like a corner of a room to be your own sanctuary, because you're taking your mind and you're going within this book. And it's like, as a dad, as a parent myself, I never really thought about that.
Yeah.
So it's like, wow.
You see people on TV and they have like these big old houses and, they be like, oh, go read. And you see these kids over in a, nice area in the house reading and stuff like that. But everybody don't have that, And I figure a kid can get in a corner and sit on a pillow with their favorite blanket And that's their cozy spot. You know what I mean? Because kids have awesome imaginations. You know what I mean? They think of so many different things. And so it's a matter of being in tune with that child and just letting them know, like, this is possibilities. And, last time we talked about it, it's a matter of us not knowing how. We don't know how to do a lot of things. We don't know that my voice can be on the cartoon. We don't know that they need writers to write that cartoon. It's different stuff that we just don't know and not taught. So I just feel like with me being a parent, I don't want those opportunities to slip my kids because they don't know. I wanted my girls to see, like, hey, like, mom wrote this book. You know what I mean? That's something that she really wanted to do, and she did it. It took her a year. You know what I mean? But she did it. And I just need my kids and the kids around me to know that as well. So for me, it's just a matter of, I just want to teach kids that it's okay to read. It's okay to be comfortable with reading. It's okay to learn new words. Like, I carry a notebook with me typically because I don't know if it's a word that I don't know and I might botch it trying to spell it, but I'll write it down to find out what that meaning is. Or I carry a notebook because I have an idea and I just typically write it down, So for me, I just more or less want kids and parents to know, like, that's a bonding time. That's a healthy bonding time. People always joke about if Johnny had 5 apples and you take one away, you know what I mean? Like, that's a lot of our realities. You know what I mean?
That's true.
But let's turn that around, because now we already passed the apple situation. Now let's sit down and bond and let's read together.
Man, you about to make a tear cut down my eye, girl. Shoot, I'm over here getting all warm and fuzzy with my brother in the room. It don't look right, man. But that's awesome. Thank you so much for all that you have done. This is something that I feel like a lot of us need to hear. To hear the trials and tribulations of just being a creator, an artist, because we're all content. I feel like we are all content creators, and it's just we don't know how to get that out.
Right?
We don't know the right proper way to express ourselves. And now that I'm learning, like, reading a book is another way to self-express. I can read now that I read a book with my kids and stuff. Like, we act it out. Like, I'd be in full role play, man. Got the cape around the neck, tight, hot, I'm super whatever, I'm captain, whoever. And that right there is the power of reading and literature. And it comes from within. It comes from, the creator. And you being a Black queen, man, and showing, not only I feel like you're giving kids another door to be themselves, but you're also teaching parents to look in a different way, think in a different way, using the same old tactics that our parents used back in the day, which not all of them are bad, but how the delivery system can be changed a little bit.
Right.
Yeah, a little bit. And you're highlighting that with books. That's a big thing, girl. You got to give yourself a couple of these. Sure. That's what's up. So what is the future for Miss Jackson, the author? Is there going to be any books for adults? Yeah. So it's great today.
I do have a selection of short stories for adults. I haven't really did much with them. Every time I get ready to start, like, kind of, You
on that. Come on, y'all. We got to get her on there. So what would these stories be of? Like, short stories be about?
For grown-ups?
Yeah, for the adults.
Just fun stories.
Okay. That's dope. I like that. Because a lot of times people are like, well, we need to, we want to show you how to properly be this and that. Like, no, I'm going to enjoy myself, put myself in a different world. I want to be jumping off a building and ended up landing in a pool of ice cream or something. Like, let me have fun. Like, you hear me? I like that. So when would these be on the top of the to-do list, unless this is like further in the future, you know.
Yeah, it might be
More
further
time.
down.
See,
I'm just
trying to get us
really, I'm
started.
just, I guess I'm just so much focused on, my building my catalog with the kids and being able to have options because like not every book is for everybody. So to be able to have options is a big thing for me.
That's right. Okay. I get it. Well, I got a couple more questions for you. I got to get this out. Are you going to be in any schools reading for any like other kindergartners or something like that?
I just recently read at my daughter's school and I was so excited. I read to 100 kids
You read,
and
I got that number again.
100 kids, and it made me feel good because they asked so many questions like, how did you write your book? That was a good story. I liked it. And I'm going to ask my mom this. And, it's creating dialogue, you know what I mean, between kids and their parents when you read, so that was a really big thing for me, especially with it being March's Reading Month. Like I reached out to them like, hey, March's Reading Month. Do you guys have anything planned at your school? And so they welcomed me with open arms. But I plan on continuing to try to reach, different schools and different things like that so that I can just, get my stories out.
And what schools have you been to already?
I just been to the ones here in Indiana.
Okay, all right. That's what's up. All right. So is that going to be coming down to Michigan?
Yeah. We come back home all the time. So if anybody was to want to set up something with me, I wouldn't mind at all.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna get that ball rolling for you. Y'all hear it?
I wouldn't mind. Yeah.
I hear it. I'm gonna get that ball rolling for you. I'm gonna make phone calls because we need that. Of course, we have like Men of Color read, but I feel like our young ladies, your future queens need that. We need that other female figure, woman figure to tell them that they're beautiful, tell them that they're powerful and whatnot. And you that lady for it. Don't worry. I ain't got nothing else to say about that one. So where can we find you on any social media?
I'm working on my Facebook page and my Instagram page now. So just right now on my regular Facebook page, which is just SheCosha Jackson. Hopefully in like the next week or so, my website will be up and running. So I'm just trying to slowly, work on things and get myself together.
Well, we thank you for everything you have done and is about to do.
Thank you.
Light.
Thank you.
You have a strong support system. I'm a part of it now.
Thank you.
Welcome to the Unapologetic family once again.
Oh, thank you.
You have done more than I really imagined. Like I know you're a very humble individual, and you don't see yourself as big, but to me, you're like one of those leaders within this plateau that you have created.
Thank you.
Spreading that word. And it's a lot of us that need that right now, especially in this time that war, famine, and all this that's going on.
Oh, yeah.
So this is I feel like a highlight for us.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Especially anytime I can just tell about what's my love. You know what I mean? It makes me feel good when I hear people say, like I read your book every night to my kid, or I get inboxes where people say, guess what tonight's request was? Somebody sent me a message and said that they was having a baby shower. They was going to a baby shower and my book was on a baby shower registry, so that stuff like that makes me feel good. So it's just nice to be able to talk about how I love reading and, just hopefully I can spread that amongst, kids and families.
Oh, man. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you, Keys and Queens, man. We had SheCosha in here for a minute, y'all. We've been talking about so much. Please go out and order her book. Like she said, man, it's there to help bring families together, communication, ideas, spread the content, spread the love for sure. Is there anything else you want to like? I feel like if there's anything else that you have in mind that you want to do, please hit me up.
Okay.
Love to be a part of the book. I'll be a superhero, a villain, a puppy in that anything. Just hit.
Okay.
I'm right here for you.
All right. Thank you.
Yeah. But thank you for tuning in, Keys and Queens, on another great episode of Unapologetic, your #1 podcast. We are getting ready to launch another episode pretty soon. So please stay tuned. All the information from Miss Jackson will be at the end of the video on YouTube. And of course, man, we on every audio platform there is. Y'all will hear all of us everywhere. So make sure y'all tune in on that. And also go pick up the book. Please go pick up the book. Y'all, it's a really great read. There's activities in there. And please hit that like, share, and subscribe button on the end of the video, man. I thank you, Miss Jackson, so much. I really do appreciate you